Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of Awaiting Orders. My name is Chandler. I'm here to have a good time with Jaden. How's it going, Jaden?
Going well. I keep expecting you to say line of sight, but other than that, it's going well.
No, never again. I'm also here with Ben, who probably didn't get any sleep, but that's okay.
You know what? It's only awake every 90 minutes. Alternating.
Hey, that's a solid... Not very much sleep.
They're not on the same schedule because they're different weights and sizes. And so, yeah, it's one's awake pretty much back to back through the night.
Brutal. That sounds gnarly, but you're here. You made it.
Yeah. My wife and my mother are being absolute angels and each taking a twin so that I can hang out and talk skutamug.
Nice. All right, so what is it that we're here to talk about today? Jaden, you want to tell us?
More of the best faction in the game, naturally. Yeah. We definitely didn't spend way too much time talking about, like, half of the things we wanted to talk about last week.
Yeah. Well, when you're trying for a 45-minute runtime and you spend 22 minutes on adepts, you're doomed.
Could have spent longer.
Absolutely. So yeah, the plan today, like I said in the last one, we're going to kick into talking about the tactics cards available to the Protoss. Kind of go through all the options that are available to them, and we'll probably kind of touch on how those apply to the units that we talked about last time a little bit. But I think we want to start off a little bit strong today with the 2 faction cards that are currently available. So every faction in the game currently has 2 faction cards that are available to them. One being kind of a generic, just the generalized armies of that faction, and then the other one being specifically associated with the hero that you can bring. So that gives you kind of a couple of options that you can pick from when you're doing list design. The cool thing about the faction cards is that they are free, so they're just something that you get. They also give you some supply for a few different unit types, which is pretty relevant. I've actually had times where I go, oh, wait, I can't actually do this army style nearly as easily because I'm playing the other, faction type or whatever. Yeah, it's definitely something I've had to think about a little bit. I always appreciate when the supply mechanic actually comes up in list building. I think it's fun, especially in one of the balance passes. They kind of reduce some of those supply on a couple of cards, and you definitely feel it.
Yeah, and it's a really good tool that they can tweak from just a balance perspective going forward. If something is really oppressive, they can be pretty targeted and say, we're just going to reduce the supply of whatever the thing that is a problem is on the most popular card, and suddenly your army building is really complicated and difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just one of the kind of cool dials that they can turn. We talked a little bit about that mechanic in episode 1, kind of going over the stuff that we thought was really interesting. It's a cool aspect of list building, but the faction card that you pick does kind of play into that. So I think let's start by talking about kind of generic Protoss. So that's going to be the Daylom. Daylom is what you get to play when you're not running Artanis's super fancy boy squad. So Daylom, it is worth 1 psionic energy when you use it for that. I believe that is the case for every Protoss card. Observer gave you 2 at one point, but with the way the rule works is you need to have a 2-cost ability to even make that matter, so currently that doesn't exist. Daylom gives you 1 elite slot, 3 core slot, and 1 support slot. This is about the most kind of generically rounded setup you can start with. It's, not super heavy on elite. You're going to have to go out of your way to take cards that give you elite to get too many of those, but it's going to fill out your core really well. Now, admittedly, Protoss fills up their core very fast if you're running any real number of Zealots and Praetor Guard.
Sure do. Not that you can run Praetor Guard with this one, but
Yeah, you can't run Praetor Guard in this one. But you'll actually fill those out a little quicker than a lot of the other guys will, unless you're running Max Marines a lot, which is an option available to you. Daylom has 2 abilities on it. The first one is Deul, which is an any phase ability used as a reaction. It's when a friendly unit receives damage, reduce the total damage by 2 to a minimum of 1. This is a great reaction. Yeah, very, very good. The fact that you get to decide...
Yeah, Hermetics were good.
Yes, yeah. It's kind of it's a mini medic ability that you get, once per turn. Can reduce that damage pool a little bit. Protoss stuff a lot of the time is already reasonably tough, especially just as far as their like health pools are concerned. It's like perfectly fine to decent saves with solid health pools, and being able to it's an extra free 2 hit points on your army every battle round. It's basically, 10 extra wounds over the course of a five round game, as long as you don't use it for anything else.
Which you will at least once, but
Yeah, you probably will.
Yeah.
Especially given that Protoss are very tight, as we mentioned, on psionic energy as it is. So even just having that available to you is pretty nice. But the thing that's obviously awesome about this is like it's a reaction. You can decide when you want to use it. You can use it to save really important things. You can go, hey, this amount of damage will put me just below my supply range or whatever, but I'm just going to reduce it by 2 and I get to keep this objective. Like you get a lot of control over when this gets used.
And I think it's pretty key. You know how much damage you're getting. You know exactly what is in the pool going from armor to damage to wounds. So you don't have to guess before the attack is resolved, which makes it a lot better.
Yeah. It's what I prefer about it over things like the Sentry Guardian Shield, where you have to set it up ahead of time. And it's like, well, they might just not even shoot over here. The other ability is a movement phase. Yeah. The other ability is a movement phase only active ability called Mass Recall. This is only usable once per game, but you place a faction indicator anywhere on the battlefield, and all friendly Protoss units within 6 inches of that faction indicator are removed from the battlefield and placed in reserves. This is an interesting one. I personally have not used it, but I have only played Daylom like once. And I think this ability is as likely to screw you over as save you. I'm really curious to see how this gets used as we kind of spend more time with the game.
I have a lot of strong feelings about this, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it. I
think with the draft system, you can create a duo of scenarios where this is just backbreaking. For example, the supply drop where only one zone is active per round. You can score a zone and just be like, okay,
I will now leave
in that corner. So I think you have to play your draft really well with your scenarios, but I think it's pretty dang cool.
I also think that between adepts being able to blink everywhere and then your ability to deploy from a non-traditional table edge, that you can really punish people for overcommitting to a place. Like Zerglings are fast and Marines are fast, but gun ranges in this game are pretty bad. And if you can force a huge amount of your opponent's stuff to commit to a place for a turn and then pull all your stuff up on like turn 2 or 3 while maintaining a reasonable scenario parity, you can kind of trap them in a quarter of the table or a portion of the table. Terrain helps here as well, where your opponent's entire army can just kind of get ignored for the last 2 or 3 rounds, which is, I don't think you can win a game with only half your army.
I've played a number of games with Ben where I definitely felt that, where Protoss's ability to trick you into overcommitting is something very unique to them. Most other factions, if you commit to an area, you're basically fighting whatever's over there, whereas Protoss, that's not necessarily the case. And this is definitely the kind of the nuclear option of tricky nonsense, right? The other thing too is I think part of it is my 40k brain struggling to wrap my head around a little bit, because pulling like a ton of units into Deep Strike is like not necessarily a good thing. In 40k, right? Like you end up with so much less table presence, and like your opponent has so much ability to decide where. Like it's a good thing to a point, but you could pull like a lot of your army at once with this.
The other thing is, and this is not something that you can almost ever do in 40k, is this pulls things from combat too.
Yes, yeah,
which is huge.
Definitely. And the thing I kind of wanted to finish that with, though, is that because of the way the supply system works, it's not like you don't get all of those units back, like
that turn.
Yeah, you can do it that turn, right? I didn't even think about that. You pull them in the movement phase and start redeploying them. That actually just didn't even click till right now. That's actually pretty spicy. That's way cool. Yeah, I like that.
Well, also imagine, we remember there's the fog of war, so you deploy something and you're like, oh man, this is not the part of my list I need to be fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pull it back.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing is with something I've run into with. I mean, this is true of really every faction. Is that there's a lot of turns where you almost like want one of your units to die because you're like, the ideal situation here is that I can get this other unit out next turn, but I don't have enough supply to do that. So this is a way to just go like, and a bunch of supplies off the table. I can redo what I want now.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of rework my army real quick to kind of be whatever I need it to be. So yeah, that's interesting. I definitely want to play around with it more. I actually think it's fine. Most of my games have been with Kalai. But Daylom fascinates me. It's something about it I really want to play with a lot more.
Here's my hot take for Daylom, is that at the moment, Artanis is too important to the way that you fight Marines specifically.
Yeah.
But I think once Zeratul comes out, or other things that can handle that job, this will get a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Speaking of which, let's go over to Kalai real quick. So this one is also a single psionic energy. It gives you a hero slot, which you need for the guy you run when you use Kalai. That's the dedicated Artanis slot. And it gives you 2 elite and 3 core. So you lose that support, which you do feel a little bit. If you're trying to get your sentries in there, you have to go out of your way to make sure your buildings allow for that. Whereas Daylom kind of gives you that spot for them, for at least some of them. But it still gives you that 3 core, so you're gonna have that. So it's a solid layout. The 2 elite is good. Yeah, takes a little bit of the work off of being able to put certain units in there. One of its abilities is kind of something we talked about last time, but it is an active ability in the movement phase. It lets you drop your pylon in anywhere more than 10 inches away from enemy models. The pylon, as we said, is one of the biggest movement or deployment tricks that Protoss has available to them. It's also the only way that they have to reduce the cost of a psionic energy ability. It's very,
which is big.
Yeah, Kalai it's an enormous. Pylon is an enormous amount of why you're playing this. That and Artanis. It's a very, very strong ability. That does mean it gives you a little bit of a linchpin, where something we started learning really quickly is if that pylon gets destroyed super early, a lot of your like benefit for bringing this army type is gone.
Yeah, although hold on a second, we're looking at the unofficial one. I just want to double check that card in the official builder, because I saw something about it being updated to not be once per game anymore.
Oh yes, no, you're probably right. I actually think
so. The new ability is, if there is no friendly pylon on the battlefield, place a friendly pylon anywhere on the ground level of the battlefield, more than 10 inches away from any enemy model.
Yeah,
and then you don't get to use it you don't get to use the special rules for the round, but it can come back. That might not be relevant by the time that happens, but it sure can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. That is absolutely a thing where they had changed that. So,
yep. And they also changed the Omega Worm when we get to that one.
Yeah.
And you might not believe it, but dropping an adept and shading for free onto an objective is probably strong enough for a subfaction.
I've done that, and I've done drop in a sentry and immediately force field and stuff like that. There's a lot of
so good. It's so good.
Yep. A lot of pretty good stuff you can do with it. And then we've got the other ability, Bound by the Kala. So this is at the end of a unit's activation. This is in the movement phase. It's an active ability. You select another friendly unit eligible to activate in the current phase and immediately activate that unit. So it lets you chain activations, right? You do an activation, then you immediately activate another unit. This has some benefits, some downsides. You have to kind of know when you're going to use it and why. A big thing is that Protoss already, with a generally somewhat high supply costs, you're going to end up with a little bit less units on the table sometimes. So you're pretty good at bidding for first go in the assault phase.
Yeah.
This kind of ensures that it's so hard to take initiative from them if they use this.
Yep.
You just have more activations than they do. So it's kind of in that respect, it kind of makes it into almost like it's helpful into shooting, because it lets you try to get those charges out a little more quickly, so that you can get your evade.
The other thing this does is potentially let you just like move trap enemy units, because if you can surround them more or less completely, they can't get out, which is something that sometimes that's really important.
I mean, really, it's just being able to get multiple units into position very quickly. It's a very unique ability. Nobody else can really do this currently. So it's pretty good. It's a cool ability. I think the Pylon's a ton of the power of Kali, but I think being able to apply Bound by the Kali, you can do some really cool stuff with it.
I like it. Although, honestly, this ends up being your first psionic energy a lot of turns.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's you drop the Pylon and then you use it for energy a lot of the time.
Yep.
That's really what I was going to say. Like, not every round, but there are rounds where it's like, oh, okay, we're both going to activate 2 units, but I want to activate 3. But I can't lose priority because then I just eat a huge alpha in the assault phase. So it doesn't come up every round, but when it does, it's pretty good.
Definitely. Yep. Now we're going to go on to the generic cards. First one we're going to talk about is the Forge. Yeah.
Forge.
As a big fan of Forge Fast Expand. It's my first building in many games, aside from the Pylon, obviously. But
good news, we're cannon rushing.
We're cannon rushing, boys. Yeah, you need a Forge to make photon cannons. Sadly, no photon cannons in this game yet. Give me Karax. He's gonna come. He's got to come with photon cannon. Come on, you cowards! Give me. What's the point of playing Starcraft if I can't cannon rush you? I'm print effing everywhere.
18 supply of photon cannons, no units.
That's all I'm here for. Give me Probius and a bunch of photon cannons. We're killing it. Anyway, all right. Forge costs 30 gas. You're gonna note down this whole way that's almost as cheap as it gets for Protoss. There's two things that are cheaper, but
so expensive.
Protoss stuff is pricey. And it's a big reason they struggle with psionic energy so bad. It's so tight. But the Forge does give you some pretty good stuff. So it has an any phase reaction. You can use it before a friendly ground unit makes an armor roll. They gain tough 1 for this roll. Tough is just a really good ability. Just being able to auto succeed a failed armor save. Very strong.
Turns out it's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's especially really good when you're getting attacked by things like damage to weapons. Anytime you can just take like multiple damage off by saving a single, like this one you can really, and again it's a reaction, so you use it before you make the armor roll as well, so you can even kind of see what they actually rolled, right?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of control over kind of how this is placed. Makes it just a very good effect on top of some other kind of reactive defensive abilities. I mean, you can stack things to really just make a unit not take any damage if you really want, which is pretty great. And then the other options available to you, another very good one, this is great on Stalkers, is in the assault phase, you can activate it to give a ground unit's first ranged weapon critical hit 1.
Which is basically a surge.
Critical hit's insane, right? It's such a strong ability.
It's so good.
And on a damage 2 weapon, like what a Stalker is using, it's going to be pretty chunky. It's going to hurt. This thing's going to be monstrous when Immortals come out.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Gonna be huge. The other thing, and this is of note, especially like Protoss, this is the thing. The Forge is not unique. So you can take multiple Forges. And the other thing I didn't mention is it gives you an elite slot.
Which is good, because the abilities that it's got are largely going to go on Stalkers.
Yes, yeah. It is definitely kind of a Stalker, which is funny, because it's not really associated with Stalkers, but whatever. The next one down, we're going to talk about Chrono Boosted Gate, or Gate Chrono Boosted, as they put it. This is a unique card that costs 40 gas, and
it's not cheap.
Is the first of many things that say the word gate in it that you're going to want to take and run out of gas immediately. It gives you a single energy when you tap it for that. It gives you an elite slot and a core slot. I do love that it gives you the elite slot. You can actually stack up your elite slots somewhat quickly with some pretty basic stuff like Forge, Chrono Boost Gate, stuff like that, which is great. It has Zealous Charge in the movement phase. As an active ability, it just busts your speed by 2. It's really good.
Yeah. So Zealots.
Yeah, this
is the slow guys.
Yeah, remember how slow they were?
The important thing, though, is that you don't have to use it on Zealots.
Oh yeah, I've used it on adepts.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can use it on to move around. But it's when on those later turns when the zealots are coming in to start doing their thing, the buff speed 2 is integral to getting them into place quickly. And they zoom on top between that and leg enhancements. They're cruising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the other active ability it has is Quick Strikes. It gives the first close combat weapon Precision 2, which is a good rule, but we're getting into
it's a good rule.
It's a good rule. We're getting into the thing we talked about before, which is that Protoss have a lot of melee precision.
Yeah. The other thing about this card is that like the ability is very good. Like buff speed 2 is very, very strong. However, a lot of the other cards are even better, and so this ends up being one of your like first 2 or 3 psionic energy usages.
Yes, yeah, a lot of the time. When you really like need it, but other than that, it ends up kind of getting used for energy a lot. Then we have the regular Gateway. The Gateway is not unique and it's only 25 gas. It is cheap. It gives you a single core slot and it's worth 1 energy, and you can activate it to get Precision 2 in the combat phase. The problem is that things like the Chrono Boosted Gate or the Warp Gate end up being so good, and by the time you kind of have those and they're very expensive, you're not really taking Gateway.
I mean, you can't, like, here's the problem that I've run into repeatedly is I got all my really cool things and I have 5 tactics cards.
Yes, you pretty much 5. Yeah. I pretty much always have 5 with Protoss. It's been my...
And so sometimes I look at it and I go, I'm not using all of these other slots. Maybe it's worth trading one of these for 2 gateways so that I can have any psionic energy at all.
Yeah. So the gateway's main benefit is it's very cheap.
Yep.
But we do have another really cheap one coming up in a little bit here, but it's unique, so it's a little different.
Yep.
But first we're going to talk about the Nexus. So Nexus is 35 gas and it is unique. It's 1 base all-ins for Protoss, apparently. Can't have more than 1 Nexus. It gives you 1 energy and it is 2 core slots. It's got 2 abilities on it, and the first one I'm a huge fan of because I play against Ben's Terran a lot.
Gross.
Yeah. Any phase active, the first weapon you use gets instant.
Oh, it's so good.
Instant.
So good.
Instant's not that interesting until it's incredibly important. This is like having a pair of stalkers shooting into marauders and giving them instants, you actually kill one instead of doing nothing. It's like pretty sweet. It's
or like smacking some Zerglings who now can't use their evasion in combat.
Yeah,
oh, so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Just being able to stop all those reactions, it's a strong effect. It helps ensure, given that Protoss stuff's usually pretty consistent, it's just the extra layer of making sure your stuff goes through. Pretty good. And then Strategic Recall is movement phase active. You take an unengaged ground unit and put it in reserves instead of performing an action. I think I've used this before. It's a little niche.
I think it's really good with Artanis.
It's really good with Artanis. Yeah, given that he can keep redeploying himself in weird places, it's definitely good there. I mean, it's in the movement phase. You can redeploy that unit immediately if you want, or you can deploy a different unit. It's kind of a way of letting you kind of customize what units you have on the table and exactly where they are.
Yeah, it's supply manipulation and table manipulation. It's a mini dial, and this is part of the reason that I'm been less interested in Dalam or however the flip you pronounce it. You've got this. And so if you really want to, you can do a mini version of their card all the time.
Yeah, it's good. It's maybe somewhat niche, but when it comes up, it's actually pretty good. I have used it before. The times when it's important, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, you've moved up 2 Marauders to shoot this 1 unit of Zealots, and they're gone.
And they're out. I'm out of here. Then we've got the Observer, which is a great card. It only costs 25, but it is unique.
It's so important too.
It's very good. It gives you 1 support slot, so it's getting you a sentry unit. It's also got 2 abilities. The first one is a little particular right now when it'll come up, but every faction has access to something like this. It's called Surveillance. You activate it, you put a faction indicator on the battlefield. While enemy units are within 6 inches of it, they lose Hidden.
It's really important for charges potentially, because you still have to be within 4 to charge, right?
No, they actually changed that. So you can charge from outside 4. It's just that you don't take impact hits while you're hitting.
Yeah, and given that a non-trivial amount of the Protoss damage in melee comes from impact hits, you kind of want that.
Yeah, and into stuff with like good evades if you're shooting at them, or if you're trying to shoot at, something far away with stalker. If you're trying to counter other stalkers with your stalkers, this is kind of how you do that. It's good when it comes up. I haven't personally ever used it, but it's because I've been the one. It's mostly because I played against so much Terran as well, where they don't have access to the keyword hidden yet.
Yeah.
So
we're playing honest Starcraft.
Yes.
Yeah, you be quiet.
we're playing Starcraft the way Blizzard intended.
Yeah, Mister. My freaking Raiders always count as 1 supply for objectives.
That ability is so nasty.
Oh, good.
And they're non-unique, so I've got 3 of them.
Why are they not unique? It's so confusing to me. Why are Kerrigan Raptors unique and these aren't? It's so weird. Anyway, then we've got gravitic boosters as a reaction. What an ability. Use after a friendly unit rolls a d6 for charge distance. Add 1 to the charge distance. You miss your charge by 1, the observer will come and pick up your zealot and carry him to victory.
It's ridiculous how much this changes the math on things, right? Like, it's like, oh, it's +1. It's like plus, what, 16.5% or 16.8% or whatever. But it's like, no. This is a relativistic thing. If you're trying for a 6... it's 50% more likely to work. If you're trying for, actually, it's basically like, it depends on the way you like look at it math wise, but it's either 50 or 100% more likely to work, right? Mm-hmm. If you're trying for a 5, now it's 50% more likely to work, right? Like it's so much better. It's kind of insane.
You don't want to use it because you'd rather just roll the distance and keep your psionic energy, but he's always there to save you,
Yeah, exactly.
It's there to rescue you when you need it. You just make sure you keep it up and ready to go. And if you didn't need it in the assault phase, then you can use it later, Just use the energy for something else. That's one of the things I love about that kind of energy, like tapping for energy system, is that like none of these cards are ever useless. Say something like an observer. So it used to not have this gravitic boosters. It was just like surveillance, and it used to give you like 2 energy or something. But you would still kind of take it because you're like, well, I might need it, and if I don't, it's an energy every turn. You don't get punished for taking niche toolbox abilities.
It's a cheap energy every turn,
and it's cheap. Yeah, it's 25 points, so you can fit it in pretty well. Generally, the observer is just very good. You're going to see it all the time, just in large part because it's so cheap.
In most lists,
yeah. Okay, this one fascinates me. I want to use it so bad, but I've never really found the place for it. The Overcharged Nexus. So this is a unique 35 gas card. It gives you an elite slot and a core slot. So
and a hero. No, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Nah, that's a different one.
To look at the wrong one. You fool.
Yeah, my bad.
So this has photon overcharge. So I should know. It also has strategic recall, same as the regular Nexus. But the unique thing is instead of giving you the instant weapons, and this is really kind of its failure point, is that you really want those instant weapons. And you're probably not taking the overcharged Nexus and this Nexus. But still, what an interesting ability this is. Photon overcharge used when an enemy unit enters the battlefield from reserves via a location other than its own entry edge. The unit immediately suffers 3 1 damage hits. What a weird ability.
Yeah. Here's my problem with this. That means that on average they're taking 2 damage, and it's like against most things, right? And it's like, who cares most of the time?
Genuinely, it's weird. I feel like this should do more hits or something.
I think it should be like hits 3. If they take any damage, some weird effect happens.
Yeah, I could see something like that, maybe.
Right? Like hits 3. If they take any damage, they get -2 to their move characteristic. If hits, or I guess it's too late for that by then. But like maybe they get -2 to their move characteristic the next time they activate in the movement phase or something like that.
Yeah, so some weird debuff or some extra effect. It's weird. The hits 3 is just so like it's not really going to do anything, but I'm so interested in the ability. I wish it was like good.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's just it never quite like the only thing I can think of, it's it'll kill a medic out of a unit.
Maybe.
Like, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a coin.
Like on average, you kill a medic, and like that's a little less healing to deal with. That's probably about the best use case I can think of for it.
But also, most of the time, medics are just spawning off of their normal table edges anyway, aren't they?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
What do they even have to come in off of that isn't their normal table edge for medics? Like the drop ship, I guess?
You could do it with the dropship, and you could do it with...
They have a warp prism style.
They do have a warp prism style
barracks.
Where they can, proxy barracks to come in from a side. So, like, it's there. It's just...
But you're not using it on medics. Like,
no, you use it on a different unit, and then you just, like, kind of run the medics up to get close enough.
Or you teleport them with Jim's tactics card. Like...
Yeah, something. It's a weird one. I like the ability. I wish it was, like, something a little bit more... Because it's fun in theory, but it'd be like, I don't know. It's a weird one. I almost wish it was like once per game, every unit that deploys takes like 4 hits.
That would be cool.
Like just like a once per game, because that actually to me is more like how an overcharged Nexus in StarCraft works, which is that it's a very temporary defensive thing that just like shoots everything near it for a little bit, and then you don't have it anymore. Something like that would be kind of interesting, I think. But so you can kind of be like, yeah, is it going to plink everything a little bit? Maybe, I don't know, something like that. But that's off the cuff. But anyway, let's talk about the power field. Ben, do you know what this is supposed to be? What's the power field? Like thematic. What is this? It's not a building.
The power field is... I mean,
it's the thing the pylon gives, right? Yeah. Like I know like what it is, but it's so weird to me, like that it's like a tactic card.
Void Shroud is like the Vorazun ability.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like, yeah, it's just this is just an incredibly strange. I don't know what it's kind of going for. It's kind of interesting, but anyway, it's a 40 gas unique card. Gives you 1 energy. It gives you a hero slot, an elite slot, and a core slot. Right now, that extra hero slot kind of does nothing for us.
You give it a couple months.
But yeah, once we start getting more heroes, you can run Artanis and Daylon. Yeah.
Okay, really interesting.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to run their faction card. You just only get access to the faction card if you run them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So like you could technically with Power Field, so that is available to you. It's got 1 reaction on it. This is kind of my problem with it. Is it's 40 gas. I think you're kind of paying for the hero slot right now.
You are paying for the hero slot.
And that doesn't do a lot for it at the moment. So maybe later this one will feel better because it only has 1 ability. It's not a bad ability, but it's only got the 1, which is reaction any phase. You use it before a friendly ground unit makes an armor roll, and they just gain dodge 2 for the roll. I mean, it's good.
Remind me what dodge does.
It's when they're targeted by an attack, you reduce the number of dice that move from the armor pool to the damage pool by surge or critical hit. So it's a way to react to surges and crits and stuff like that.
Got it.
Yeah. Cool. It's a little particular, but I mean, it's like that can be a lot of damage you don't take anymore.
Yeah.
When you're eating like Marauder hits into your stalkers where they're 2 damage each and they're surging, you can get rid of the surges and then go, okay, you maybe only surge once instead of 3 times or whatever, and I get my 4-up armor saves against everything else. Like it does take a ton of damage off the table when used, and that's why it's really not a bad ability at all. It's just the 40 gas is like a lot.
Yeah.
So I think if that hero slot becomes relevant, which it will eventually.
Zeratul.
Yeah, basically, yeah. When Zeratul drops, when Tassadar drops, stuff like that, and you can actually run like multiple heroes in a list and things like that. Obviously, this becomes a lot better. So this one's a little pending on how good it is or not. Now for everyone's favorite boy, the Twilight Council. Never go anywhere without this card. Yeah.
Give me charge.
Yeah.
Quick upgrade charge.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny. This is a slight tangent, but it's funny where they've placed some of these abilities, right? Because the Forge really should have like Weapons of the Firstborn and stuff in it, because it's where you upgrade your weaponry. Yeah. And the Twilight Council should have the +2 speed for zealots. It's all just like thematic stuff where it's like, that's not where this upgrade is in the game. I understand it's nitpicking and it's being kind of silly. It's just one of those things where I always think about it. It's really not important at all. But anyway, it's 40 gas. It's unique. It gives you an elite slot and a support slot, which is actually a pretty cool pair of slots to give you. Basically, between like an observer and a Twilight Council, you've covered all your sentries, and then you're just doing like Forge in this, and you've got a couple of elite slots to work with. Right now, Protoss are a little bit core heavy, so you don't need a ton of these slots. So just kind of getting them from happenstance from a couple of things you already really want to take is nice. Its first ability it has is any phase Veil of Shadows. You use it after a friendly unit uses a place effect. They immediately heal 2. My problem with this one is that generally a place effect is another resource you're spending. Yeah, yes, exactly. So this is like using like multiple cards to get like, you're getting the place. It's not like you're not getting benefit from all of these. But heal 2 is like not that much.
No.
It's not awful. It's just maybe not worth the psionic energy you could use, especially when the other ability is something you're using like most rounds, I think.
Yeah.
Which is Weapons of the Firstborn. This is an active assault phase ability. The ground unit you pick, their first range weapon gains buff range 4. So we're taking adepts up to range 12. We're taking stalkers up to range 16. And stuff in the future is going to get real nasty. Immortals are going to be huge for this. Got Colossi. Yeah. That's going to be sick. Yeah, you increase your range by 4. That's a huge increase in range for a lot of things. I mean, you going from range 8 to range 12 is an enormous difference, especially given that the 8 to 12 to me is like a crazy breakpoint, especially because 12 is like you're like not in charge range of a lot of things. Whereas 8, like you're getting charged by stuff a lot when you're kind of in that range. And then the stalker going all the way up to 16, that's like a sniper. 16 is far in this game. So
yeah, I've actually mostly used it on the stalkers to kind of keep them safe from the things that have the armor surge.
Yeah.
And that's been nice to be able to do that, but I suspect we will see other things that get to use this better.
Yeah, all kinds of Protoss have a ton of great ground-based ranged units, so those will be coming eventually. Hey Ben, do you think they're going to give High Templar that like incredibly useless ranged attack that they have?
Oh yeah, it has to be like a carbon copy of the Sentry attack.
Yeah, basically.
I cannot wait for the 1 dice hitting on 4s, no surges.
The Sentry actually hits on 2s randomly, but it's like weirdly accurate, but it's like 2 shots that hit on 2s and like that's it. Yeah, just High Templar is a random little bit of trivia. High Templar have a ranged attack, right? They're a spellcaster unit. Whether they have a ranged attack or not depends on like what era of StarCraft you're looking at, because sometimes they have it and sometimes they don't. But the entire purpose of it is to make controlling them easier so that when you attack move, they don't just run in front of your army. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just anyway, it's just a random little thing that I always find funny. People complained when they added it because they're like, you're reducing the skill expression, and it's like, man, I don't know, man. Let's just make spellcasters usable. I think it's fine. Yeah, everybody will be all right. Anyway, Warp Gate, another one you are never leaving. That's the problem. Protoss have like a handful of really expensive cards that you will take every time, so you just like have 5 cards, and that's just your life now.
You have 5 cards and 4 of them are required.
4 of them are required, and the last one, like, you don't have enough points to have a choice, so you're just like, whatever. Yeah, Warp Gate's unique. It's 40 gas, gives you 1 energy, and it gives you 2 core. So 2 core is awesome, because like I said, Protoss can go really heavy on core sometimes. And then it gives you the quick strikes. So combat phase, give a unit precision 2. It's good when it comes up. It's something you'll use on like Artanis. Very cool to just be like, I hit. But boy do I hit. But the movement phase, Warp In.
Yes.
The active ground unit deploys from any table edge that is not a player's entry edge. This deployment has to be more than 10 inches away from an enemy model. The controlling player cannot use this ability if another friendly ground unit has already deployed this round. So you have to use it as your first deployment, unless you drop an air unit, but those don't exist yet. Yeah, it's got to be your first deployment. This is something that, I mean, the other factions have access to it, but I feel like very particularly, especially the way Zealots like to play the game, They would not function without this, outside of maybe the pylon helping. But this is your ability to the fact that something like a zealot, now it's a little resource intensive, but a unit of zealots can come out and go incredibly far. And being able to do that off of any table edge that they want, except for the opponent's actual entry area, means that they are getting where you want them to in most circumstances. This tool is
there's no restriction on their secondary movement after that, right? So
yeah, yep.
You could, if you really wanted to, you could walk the zealots in, get 10.1 away from the enemy unit, use My Life Fire, get up there even, or no, leg enhancement. Get up there even farther. That's another basically 5 inches closer,
roughly,
and then do a place 2, and you're under. You're
basically touching whatever you want.
Auto charge. Yep.
I mean, even just that initial leg enhancement place is pretty much an auto charge. Now, admittedly, it's the first thing you deploy, so there's a decent chance whatever you just ran up to hasn't moved yet. So it's an alternating activations game. We have the ability to react, which is why these abilities are allowed to exist. But it's very good. It lets you get those things. I mean, you're going to jump on almost whatever objective you want outside of certain deployments. And this is an ability where, I mean, the other factions have it, right? Like Terran have proxy barracks, Zerg have, I forget what it is. Is it 6 pool that lets you do it?
6 pool, yeah. 6
and
pool.
It's not that these aren't available elsewhere, but I feel like just the way Protoss want to play, this is so integral. Now, I think basically every faction should take their version of this because it's just a very strong ability. But just the way Zealots want to enter the table, it's too good to not have access to.
Yep, I agree.
Plus, we love warp in Zealot run bys. It's half the reason to play Protoss. Our last one is Warp Prism, an awesome card as well. This is a unique card that costs 45 gas.
Yeah.
So enjoy that. It gives you 1 energy and it gives you 2 core slots. This is our last tactic card. So this gives you 2 abilities that are both very good. They're both in the movement phase. You have active, you have phase. This is the active unit resolves the place 3 effect. You can just teleport any unit and they are now teleported. That's just a good thing to be able to do. The threat increase is obviously kind of the easy mode way of using this, but there's all kinds of things you can do with this. You can use it to get over walls that you normally wouldn't be able to. You can use it to I don't know. It just gives you a lot of movement. It's yet another place effect available to Protoss, and
you're out of combat. Pull
yourself out of combat is really big. Yeah, it lets you get around quite a bit. With the way that placing into coherency and stuff works, place 3 is a big jump. You go very far. And the last tactic card ability available to Protoss we'll talk about is Warp Conduit. So this is you put a faction indicator anywhere on the battlefield more than 10 inches from any enemy model. At the end of the round, controlling player may deploy 1 ground unit from reserves in base-to-base contact with this faction indicator. It's a way to deploy a unit at the very end of the turn, but it can drop basically anywhere. This has some counterplay. You can't if you make it so that they can't base-to-base it at all.
Stick a shade on it.
Yeah, Protoss are really good at denying this by putting a shade on there and just warping adepts all over it. You have to place it smart, but it has some really good effects. The fact that it's the very end of the turn has benefits. Obviously, you don't get access to the unit yet, and you need to have the supply available to be able to do it, so you're kind of slowing down your deployment onto the table slightly for a moment. But it lets you you drop onto, it's a relatively cheap way to drop onto objectives early, or just get into weird positions that the opponent kind of wasn't expecting. And the fact that it's at the end of the turn means your unit can drop in very safely.
I have a problem with this one where it's I kind of feel in list building I often have to choose between this and Warp Gate, and Warp Gate's always going to win. It's 5 points cheaper, and it has
that's. I don't like leaving home without Warp Prism, but it's so expensive.
Yeah, 45 points is so many points.
It's a lot.
It's functionally a quarter of your points of your gas for this. It's so many points. It's hard to justify it for me.
Yeah, definitely. I really like having it, but it is right in that range for me of being the first card that I feel really bad about cutting. You're but I have to.
I will say, as the resident non-Protoss, well, I love Protoss. I'm getting them, let's be honest. But they would probably be my third favorite out of these factions. The other factions like Six Pool and Proxy Barracks, Dropship and Overlord
and Dropship, yeah,
feel much more necessary than Warp Prism feels to Protoss. Because we just
teleport faction doesn't need another teleport.
And it's not even really that, because like more teleports kind of is almost never a bad thing.
Yeah,
but
it's the end of the round style.
It's the end of the round style that you're like, Protoss doesn't necessarily need this. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not that it's bad at all. It's a really good effect, but Zerg, I feel like naked without Overlord. Like I have to have it. You know, being able to just get. Because it gives two things. It lets me get creep out faster, and it lets me drop my units in much more advantageous positions, especially for a pretty melee-centric army. I feel like I have to have it. Whereas, but War Prism is also costed really brutally. Because
how much is the other one?
Because I think Overlord's like 35 right off the top of my head. No, the Overlord is 45. He is expensive. And he does basically the same thing, but instead of the place, he lets me put a creep token near something. But the Overlord's weird. He gives you a hero slot, an elite slot, and a core slot. I don't know why the Overlord gives you a hero slot. It's very random, but. And so is the Terran, is the dropship?
Dropship's 40. It's
Dropship's 40, so they get the cheaper one. And it's.
But it has the.
Oh, it has the Nexus ability. Yeah.
Yeah, it has
yeah. Okay. Dropship's cool. Oh, they actually have the art for it up. It's a little cut off and weird, but nice.
Yeah, it's one of my go-tos.
Yeah. The dropship's really good. It's Protoss, Terran and Zerg, I definitely feel like I have to take. I think I cut Overlord once, and it's not that necessarily that I regretted it, but I felt it. You know, you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And especially Zerg have kind of a weird thing. I know we're a little off topic, but Zerg have a slightly weird thing because they also have like a creep card that costs gas too, if you're running Kerrigan Swarm. So like that can get really tight really, really quickly. But anywho, that's all the Protoss Tactics cards. It's a good suite of stuff. Right now, I feel like a lot of the Tactics cards, there's a lot of kind of overlap on them between the three races. These kind of feel like the generic ones that are just sort of like, these are the basic things that we feel like factions need to function, and a couple of fluff things. So it's a little hard to say. Like I feel like the Tactics cards will become a little more unique over time.
100%. Like you see some flavors of it with like Academy for Terran, or the ignoring the dodge 2 for Protoss, where it's like, oh, these are things that other people don't have. But
and like the evade and melee for Zerg and stuff like that, where it's very particular to them that nobody else really has right now. And so, it'll be interesting to kind of see more of that stuff flesh out over time, especially as we get more and more units. Another thing is, part of me almost wonders if they will ever kind of reshuffle where the abilities are on these, just because some of them like make sense in other places and kind of weird times. Like there's something about like Veil of Shadows to me that feels like it should be on the Dark Shrine and stuff like that, but that's mostly thematic stuff. Obviously they haven't gotten super into that. Like a lot of these cards kind of do things that aren't quite what they do, you know, in the PC game. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see what they do with it going forward. But I think that's about going to cover us for today. Jaden got taken out by assassins. Apparently a ghost got him. So
he specifically said he didn't want to say bye to anyone.
His Discord seems to have imploded on him, so we've lost him already. He's gone. We don't need him anymore. But that's going to be it for us. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.